Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me in today's video. Let's talk about something. Joy. Joy is the highest emotion you can feel in terms of vibration. The lowest vibration tends to be negative emotions, things like anger, things like sadness, things like grief. And then as you continue to wake your way up, you go into higher emotions like love. And then you have joy, which is the highest vibration, the highest emotion. I think a lot of us don't experience true joy. What we experience is we experience pleasure, we experience happiness, good feelings in our lives, but we don't necessarily exude joy. Now, why is that? I think one of the things that we feel or that we believe or that we perceive as humans is that once a good thing happens to us, then there's a chance that that good thing could just go away. Or there's a chance that that good thing or that good feeling won't last. So in many ways, when we feel happiness, when we feel a sense of belonging, when we feel a sense of goodness, it's almost like we brace ourselves for the next terrible event or for the next terrible thing or for the next thing to go wrong. And one of the things that we need to be cognizant of is, are we manifesting something bad to happen because we're expecting it to happen? That's one thing, because essentially whatever you give thought to, whatever you think about often, whatever you put your mind to, that's essentially what manifests or what comes up in your life. So that's number one. Number two, life is a cycle of changes. That's one thing that they teach in the Buddhist tradition. Ariana, sing it, girl, sing it! Is that life goes in cycles. So like I was saying before I was rudely or pleasantly interrupted by Ariana Grande, was that life is a cycle of changes. And that's one thing that they teach in the Buddhist tradition, is that life doesn't stay the same. Things happen to us in our lives, good things, bad things, whatever. Things are consistently changing. Life is a cycle. It's almost like a wheel. In the Christian tradition, the scripture that goes with that talks about weeping may only endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So again, things happen in cycles. Things are constantly happening in cycles. One of the things that we have to be cognizant of is that, yes, although I'm feeling really great right now, things may change and things are going to change. But again, it's all about mind frame. It's all about mindset. When things come up that aren't necessarily so pleasant, how do you move forward? How is your mind? How are you thinking? What are you doing to prepare yourself in a crisis or in an emergency, so that when these things do come up, you're not taken by it and it's a tragedy and you're traumatized by it? Think about it like this. When you're in school or even at work, what do they have? Fire drills. Everyone has to be quiet. You must stay silent. Walk silently down the stairs, or walk silently throughout the hallways. Be quiet. Everyone's silent. Listen to the rules of the safety personnel. They have these drills. Similarly, in cases of your life, what are you doing? What drills are you doing to help prepare you for emergencies, to help prepare you for moments of crisis? Most of us don't have an emotional emergency plan. We're taught to have a financial emergency plan in case something comes up financially, in case, for example, you lose your job for a certain amount of time, a disaster happens, just to have cash on hand. And we're taught that, but what are we teaching ourselves to have an emotional and even a spiritual emergency plan in case things come up? That's one of the things to do. When you're in these moments of like goodness and happiness and everything is going well, that is the time to really figure out, okay, what can I do to stay focused, to stay level, to balance myself, whether it's breathing, whether it's meditation, whether it's mindfulness. What are you doing to help upkeep yourself in the most pristine way possible, and to keep doing it so that when you have these moments of crisis, you know what to do, you know how to move forward, you have these tools you can use so that the crisis doesn't necessarily hit you as hard. I'll use myself as an example. One of the things that I do, sometimes I teach youth arts, specifically in dance. So I remember one time I went to a school, the students were off the wall, like crazy, bonkers, baby's kids. After that day was over, I was stressed out. I was emotionally a wreck, just done. So for me, it's like, okay, what could I do to move forward so that this experience doesn't make me not want to step into another classroom ever again in my life? I've been teaching myself these things over the past few years to sort of help me come back to balance. One of the things that I did was that I did an aromatherapy cleanse. So I smelled my oils, applied it to certain points of my body to really help myself come back to calm and to help bring myself back to a state of homeostasis because I was not in a good place after I left that school and I came back home. I wanted to pretty much look at every single child in their eyes in the world and go, what is wrong with you? You need to get yourself together. But of course, that's not every child. That was just that one school I was at. Granted, I did not go back. So yes, emotional preparedness, spiritual preparedness is important because life happens. Here's something else to keep in mind. Life moves in a cycle. It's almost like this wheel. Think about the wheel is turning, is turning, is turning, is turning. When the wheel is on top, when you're on top of the wheel, when you have a moment of strength, of stability, of amazingness, that is the time to do the most good, to do the most amazing things you can do for other people because karma comes back. The law of karma is a real thing. Whether you believe in it or not, it exists. What you put out comes back. So essentially, when you're on top and things are going well, that's the time to give a lot more, to help people a lot more, so that when the wheel starts turning again, and the wheel gets down to the bottom and you're at the bottom of the wheel, you won't hit rock bottom as hard because of all the good things that you've done that will help to, although the wheel will still turn towards the bottom, it won't go as low. It'll almost go in like a series of up steps, or like you're going up the stairs opposed to you staying in one place or going down the stairs. Essentially, when you have these amazing moments, that's the time to do as much service, as much good as you can, so that when the cycle does turn and so that when the wheel does turn and you're near the bottom of the cycle, where things may not necessarily be as thriving, you can still survive and you're still in a good place. So, preparedness, emotional preparedness, spiritual preparedness, karmic preparedness, all those things help so that you don't necessarily hit rock bottom as hard. When you think about all those things together and you mix them all together, those moments bring you release, those moments bring you a sense of ease, and then you're able to lean into the good moments more, you're able to lean into the goodness, you're able to really lean into the joy and not be afraid of, oh my gosh, this is not going to last. Oh my gosh, I have to prepare myself, because the body does that, right? The body essentially sets up these defense mechanisms to help you survive through life. One of these defense mechanisms is for the mind to go, okay, this is not going to last long. This happiness is not going to last long. Prepare yourself. Something bad's going to happen. And eventually something bad will happen if you keep thinking that way. But again, if you lean into the joy, if you have these good moments, amazingness, abundance, you lean into it, you really experience it, and then let it go. So yes, lean into the joy, allow yourself to feel joy, allow yourself to feel love, allow yourself to feel the good things in life, because life is good. As much as you may see things on the news, things that are happening politically, things that are happening around the world, life is good. And if you can really accept that, hone into that, grab that by the reins and realize that, then you too will be able to live the life that you know you want to and that you need to, because you deserve it. That's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. Write down some comments below. Let me know what you want me to talk about. And I'll definitely find some time and find a way to mention and talk about those particular topics that are really on your mind or really on your heart. Thanks so much. Take care. Have a good day. And remember, find ways to upgrade your light. Bye-bye.